Perfect. Well, hi. As she told you, my name is Hamid Emamail, and today I will be talking about information technology product development specialist, or in a better and shorter term, the career that involves IT technology. And once again, welcome to Career Week at CTS College. Now, just to give a little short background on who I am and what I'm currently doing. I'm currently the acting CEO, but more so the Chief Information Technology Specialist for Ion Global Services. You can always check out the full details of these things on my profile on LinkedIn. In short, what that entails is that I am the individual that led the teams that built the Ion Jobs Caribbean platform, which is a job board platform in short, and more so the Ion Academy online learning platform.
Pretty cool.
Everyone is hearing me fine? Everyone is seeing the presentation?
Yep.
Cool, perfect. Nice. So we'll go through this and make it short and sweet, and then we can freely chat at the end, take questions. Now, what will we be speaking about today? I'm keeping it to 5 points and to answer 3 main questions. First thing is we'll find out what exactly is an information technology product development specialist or an IT solutions development specialist. Now, keep in mind the title, the actual title can vary, and it can be called almost anything. But the core of what it entails or the responsibilities of the job and the requirements are what we're mainly going to focus on. We'll also get into understanding which industries I need of this level of expertise. And then we'll find out how can someone get into this field. After that, I'll give you some exciting stories from my experience over the past 15 years, and then we'll look at some of the pros and cons in the field. So that way we get to be a little realistic on what you can expect. Now, an information technology specialist. Information technology specialists or experts, we generally design, operate, or maintain technology products. Now, these duties can include network management, software development, or database administration. Now, just to interject here, this presentation is totally online, and I'll share the link with you all in the chat after, so that way you could always go over it on your own time, and you can also highlight any of the words and Google them if you want to get a better in-depth understanding of what that entails. Now, IT specialists may also provide technical support to businesses and organizations, and most of the time, they're expected to train non-technical workers in that business's information systems. Now, advanced information technology specialists may design the actual systems that are being used and assess its effectiveness, keep it up and running, or they may already use resources that are implemented and improve upon them or combine different resources. IT specialists will also work with external partners that can be external vendors or providers of the technology, that could be hardware or software, also including consultants and different agencies to arrive at the most appropriate system to integrate multiple systems. Now, a lot of other factors come into play when you're taking up that level of responsibility, and that may be budget of the organization that you're in, the goals that they're looking to achieve, the timeline, multiple different scenarios can come into play. So you always have to keep in mind that once you're in IT, you have to be adaptable, you have to be flexible. Those are the key words in this industry. And one thing though, as I said, with adaptability and being flexible, in IT, it's constantly changing. So you always have to keep up to date with the emerging technologies. A fine example is when I started off in this scenario, in this industry, or training for it. I was back in the 90s, and the technology that they had in the 90s was totally different compared to what they have now. It's a lot more evolved now, but that's the beauty in it. It's constantly challenging you. It's always something new to learn. And I'm here thinking about or wondering what it will be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. So that's where the excitement comes in. Now, the second part that we like to better understand is which industries are in need of these expertise. So we understand the expertise and what we're speaking about. And the beauty in IT or information technology is that it's not limited to employment with technology companies. And more so, it's not limited to employment of any specific company. So that's the beauty in it. You're fully adaptable, you're flexible. It opens up a lot of career opportunities for you because you can now get into any business and be an asset in that business. Almost all businesses now have an IT department. Probably even if you have a parlor now at the side of the road. And yes, it may sound a little funny, but with the COVID scenario, the most recent COVID scenario, even local mom and pop shops, cottage industries now want to transition to selling online. So there are room for these level of services in any industry. Now, the requirements. We understand what it is. We understand that we can potentially get a job anywhere with it. So how do we actually get into this field? What are the courses that we have to do? What are the certifications that we should apply ourselves towards? Now, keep in mind, I'll share the link to this presentation after, so you all can freely browse it, go over the written information. I'm not going to sit down and read out all the slides, but I just wanted to highlight some of the main information here. Now, required education. It's at least a certificate or an associate degree in IT, or that certificate will be in the specific competencies such as Microsoft certifications, Cisco certifications, Oracle. So everyone knows what Microsoft is. That's most of the operating systems that we use now. Cisco would be networking. Oracle would be database management. To give you a small example, ATMs, all ATMs operate on Oracle software. So if you want to get into being an IT expert for the banking industry, a very secure job, these are the things you would have to study. Definitely networking and definitely Oracle database. CompTIA certifications are the new standard of the industry. And keep in mind, as I said, you can always Google any of the terminologies if you want to better understand what exactly it is. So example, like CompTIA, what it stands for, what it means, and the level of credibility that it is. Further to that, some of the data that was projected is that this industry will have a 10% growth rate over the 10 years between 2018 and 2028. However, given with the most recent COVID scenario, this most likely is going to expand or just mushroom. I know a lot of young individuals always like to find out, hey, what is the pay? What am I getting out of this? When you're young, yes, a lot of your objectives may just be, where am I going to make money in order to achieve whatever personal goals I have? Now, the average salary, more or less, now keep in mind this is in USD, it's about 53,000 US per year, but that comes with a bachelor's and or a master's. If you're applying this to the Trinidad and Tobago economy, it's about the same rate that you get per month. It's the same, this will equate out to be the same rate you're getting per year, but you have to have at least a bachelor's and a majority of these certifications. A lot of government entities pay this rate. A lot of private sectors, large companies will pay even higher than that. Our next beautiful thing is the fact that you always have room for career growth. So this figure can even go up further. I know we have a few younger personnel inside here in this chat right now. And that's a great thing. I like the fact that we have students from Form 3, you know, curious, wondering, hey, what is this about? What can I get myself into? To some degree, it's all different levels of trouble. It's whatever you're able to deal with. But the courses or the disciplines that you would definitely have to pursue if you want to totally hardcore go into the IT field, a degree in information technology would definitely have to be the sciences. But if you don't have that as your CXE O-level courses, that's perfectly fine because, again, as a lot of you will know, over at CTS College, you can just transition from your CXE level into bridging programs, which will then take you straight into the degrees. Also, if you want to do any of the certifications, you don't need any background. You at least need basic math and English in order to perform well in it. So once you have a strong math background, English, and you're capable of that, you know, ones and twos, you'll be totally comfortable in pursuing these courses, these degrees. It will not be difficult to you. That's why I'm also highlighting the programs offered by CTS College, because we're trying to better understand how does someone get into the field, into this information technology field. You can go straight into the bachelor's from your CXE, from the CXE O levels, and I'll definitely invite you to the information session on Saturday, the 30th of May, where you'll get a lot more precise information on that. When I share this link of the presentation, you can always click on any of these banners and it will take you to the specific CTS College page and give you even more info that you can read on your own time about it. But I try to highlight here some of the major courses that will definitely get you into the field. So obviously a bachelor's, but more so and more for practicality and applicability, I would definitely advise that you do the A+ CompTIA certifications, N+ CompTIA certifications. This means networking. This will teach you how to set up networks, how to manage wireless networks. It gets into all the details of how to even block people from getting on a network, how to manage them effectively, and all the nitty-gritty cool tech info. A+ is more so like building computers from scratch. It's very focused on hardware, and then secondarily the software that comes onto that hardware to give you functionality. Those basic skills are definitely required if you want to pursue a career in IT. And that is actually where I first started off. More so now, cybersecurity is a up and coming thing. That wasn't so much a thing 20 years ago, or more so when I started off. But now you can even pursue the certification over at CTS College. So honestly, I would say just go and stay there for the next few years, and trust me, you'll get any job you want. All right. So everyone comfortable so far?
Yeah.
Nice, cool. So just to give you a little feedback on my personal experience over the past 15 years, you can always check out my LinkedIn profile to see where I started off and my background education on that and where I ended up. But to give you a short synopsis, I started into IT by the time I was 6. And as I was telling some of the students here, that was more so because of the push from my mom. She saw that information technology was the up and coming thing. So she started sending me for all those computer courses, and it took me about the greater part of 5 years where I moved from just introduction to computers, and I moved up to programming, A plus, N plus certification. So by the time I was 9 or 10, which was somewhere before SEA, I finished all the certifications they had at the time in IT. Then I went on to my first choice, which was Fatima College. I was actually living across the road from it. So, and no, I never reached a school late. I would just walk across the road. I could have stayed from my kitchen and see the blackboard for Form 1. Um, so when I got in there, I kept pursuing IT on the side as a hobby, where I would buy computer parts, put them together, mash up a lot of things, trying to figure out how they're working. And it was just curiosity that kept me in IT and kept me learning or delving more into programming. Back then, things were very slow in terms of access to information. I remember when I first got dial-up internet with the beep beep tone thing. I don't know if much of you here know about that. But I used to use it in the night to download music and movies, and a movie would take like 5 hours to download
From Napster?
or more.
Ah, man.
No, it was LimeWire at the time. So that's how old it is. So I would load them, burn them, sell them in school, and that's how I started. Just walking around the whole school, and it was like 1,000 customers because 1,000 people in a secondary school. And I would sell to everyone. What I started doing after that was the computer places locally that will sell PC parts. They often had all their price lists in Excel sheets. So I would actually just download the Excel sheets and do an Excel markup and mark up their prices by a percentage, print it out and walk around the school selling. I didn't have any cash or anything like that, no money or anything. So what I would do is take the money from the students, from my peers. I was obviously underage, but I always look older than my age. And my mom used to lend me the car. So I was like 14, 15. And I would take the car, go down to El Socorro, buy the parts. Now, duck school, duck classes, buy the parts, carry it back in school. Mind you, I ain't telling anybody to go and do this, sir.
Yeah.
I would sell it back in school. So funny enough, that's how this thing just kept going as a hobby. I was good at the sciences, and eventually I went over to UTT and did my first degree in petroleum engineering. Currently, right now, I'm actually on my second master's which is in education. So learning is always a continuous thing. I swear to God, you'll keep learning until the day you go to the grave, and you probably might learn some more after that. But as a fun in it, you have to like it. You have to just keep, have an open mind. How I delved more into IT was the fact that when I came out of university initially, there weren't much jobs in the energy sector at the time. This was right after the 2008 financial crisis and that kind of stuff. So I was looking for something to do. I know one or two of the individuals in here said that they want to get into business. So having IT as a hobby and my base certifications, A plus, N plus, I decided to start doing small networking jobs, or I actually just went to businesses, knocked on the doors, and I told them the story straight as it is, that, hey, I would like to come in and keep your systems up and running. And I did that for a lot of small businesses. That eventually grew into, I was handling all the digital outlets for the entire East-West corridor and all the way down to Central. But that was when Digicel Now came to Trinidad, and they were a big thing. They had stores on every corner, and retail was booming. So I would go around to them, keep them up and running. So it was a constant contract, and money starting to come in a good way. But what I kept seeing opportunity for was that I would always have to go by local suppliers and buy the parts. and take those parts, carry it to the outlets, fix the computers, get them back up and running, just to keep their systems functioning. So that's how I learned about all these things, just from hardcore experience. What I started doing eventually was saving up the contract money. And I'm just giving you the honest raw truth of how it was. Again, it's not the best advice, but it's just how it worked out for me. I'll actually show you how you can utilize that to some extent. I know I'm going a little off time, so I'll keep it short. What I started doing was I actually used to go outside of the retail outlets where I would buy the computer parts and take up their garbage and carry it home. And that's how I found out the labels of where they were buying these things from Miami and from all over the world. So then I would import it. I would find their suppliers and started importing myself. Eventually, I opened my own line of stores. We had 4 stores up to the max, selling computer parts and so on, doing networking jobs, keeping a lot of offices up and running. And then I even pushed further to divest out of that. So I have ended up selling out all of that and totally went into the virtual spaces. So that's how I arrived at my current job, which is with Ion Global Services. So that's just keeping it short. If you want to hear more of the excitement, you could always contact me separately after. More so to that, I just want to touch on the pros and cons. And from the conversation, you would have seen that, yes, it has a good pay, mostly because there's not much of a standard payment given what the respective tech job is. If you take on jobs on your own, you can make a lot more than a standardized fixed 9 to 5. You always have freedom of choice in what industry you want to work in, and there's a lot of career growth. It gives you a lot of positive feelings of self-worth. You know, when you solve problems and help people solve their problems, it really works for you. A pro and a con at the same time is the fact that there's specialization and continuous studying. So you always have to keep learning. As I said, what I started with in the 90s obviously doesn't apply anymore. The core basics does, but the technology kept evolving over the years. So I always had to just keep up with it. Now I'm starting to realize that I can't figure out half the stuff on my phone. So I realize I'm really starting to get old. I'm scared for like when I reach 60 and, you know, my grandkids are probably laughing at me like, "Granddad, why are you so dumb?" So, you know, I dread in those days. Anyway, cons to the job is that you'll always get constant complaints and always have requests from clients and coworkers, and they will ask you to fix anything and everything down to the toaster oven at home and all. That will obviously always carry into long hours and odd hours, especially if you take a 9 to 5 in IT. The long hours and the odd hours, more so, is because you have to keep everything up and running or solve problems in order for workers that normally service customers in the 9 to 5 period. You have to keep them functioning during their time. So, you know, long nights, odd hours, keep that in mind. A big downfall to it is that you could always end up in being very tech dependent. But the beauty and the solution in that is balance. Just always be wholesome in that sense, where stay humble, stay hungry, yes, definitely. But just always find the balance. You know, don't stick behind a computer whole day. You'll go crazy. That's actually about what it's now 5:28, and that takes me to the end of this presentation. Once again, my name is Hamid Emamail, and I want to sincerely thank you all today for sharing the time. Hopefully, I can take at least 1 or 2 questions. If we have any quick questions, if anybody want to raise their hand on this app and, you know, ask anything, feel free to go ahead. Also, again, as I said, I'll share the link in the chat, so you all can always contact me directly if need be.
What was the question I was asking you? And you said you would ask me after, like you would answer after. I forgot.
Oh, you asking me how much I get paid now?
No, the question I asked before. It was like some question I was asking you, and then like you said you would answer. But
Perks of the job.
Or the perks of the job?
Yes, thank you. Perks of the job.
It's according to where you're working. That's the catch. Which industry you end up in, and the responsibilities you're given. But from actual just immediate benefits within the company, or go much further, an opportunity to travel. So like over my years of experience with IT, I've always been able to travel a lot. Um, that came out of the distribution business. So I've seen a lot of different places, and more so, especially when you're developing partners. So like right now, Ion is developing partners throughout the entire Caribbean. So it's only the COVID thing is a hindrance right now with the traveling aspect. But again, it's definitely based on where you end up working. So like I just had this up. Um, if you take a job over at Amplier, which belongs to TT, you can always go on Caribbean jobs and search through details.
Okay,
And
Mr. Hamid?
what they require. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to wrap up the session as well. We have Mr. Avery ready to start his own.
All right, no problem. I'm seeing that one or two other people had one other question or so. I'd just like to advise them that they can just email me directly and reach out to me, and I'll be able to answer them more directly. So,
What's the number?
Right.
So if I don't accept that job, when I finish my degree at ITS. Give me like a WhatsApp number, sir.
Okay. So, all right, so thank you very much as well, Mr. Hamid. We appreciate
well,
your session.
thank you very much. I'm actually gonna now post the link in the chat. If anyone wants, they can always get in contact with me through that.
No problem.
Cool.
Great. Okay, and Mr. Avery.
Hi, Gary. Just testing to see if you are hearing me via audio and seeing me.
Yes.
Yes, we are
Alright.
seeing you. And you
Okay,
quite
good.
clearly.
All right. So can I start or?
Yes, yes. You have the full floor.
All right. Well,
Welcome.
thanks a lot to CTS, Alena, and all the other representatives from CTS. As well as the students, I know many of you all would have been attending CTS or even wondering to go to CTS, and I'll bring to you a perspective from a marketing or social media marketing perspective. I am currently the marketing manager for Brand Bucket Public Relations. All right. My career path really started off at Custard, where I had a passion for public relations and journalism. However, I really wanted to be a radio announcer, but I found out that salary-wise, it was not much, as well as it was a lot of work. And then going through college, at that tertiary level institution, I realized that I also had a passion for being behind the scenes, which more or less will have led me to being into the public relations and marketing field. And that's why I hold my skills really to develop marketing for companies. And then I attended at a Graduate School of Business with a master's degree in strategic international marketing. Right? From there, I was really in it with social media, being, let's say, one of the, in the younger generation, I really had a skill or tool for social media. So I really merged both my marketing experience with the new age of social media. Many of you all would have your own social media accounts. Your employer would have social media accounts. And it really taps into going into the industry of marketing on social media. As you all would be aware now, more than ever, due to COVID and the digital experience, more and more companies are turning online. So social media, it's really important, even if you're setting off as an entrepreneur, to those persons who sell shoes or having their own clothing boutique. Majority of companies now, or businesses, even your personal accounts, start with social media. So more or less, I manage a lot of social media accounts, based from Unicoma to all their brands, Courts, Ashley's, to both private and public sector companies. We have under our brands that we manage. And more or less, it's really to make a difference for these companies online. And how are you going to position yourself differently online, where now in this day and age, majority of persons, when we look for a company or anything, they look for social media, right? Many people have it in terms of the thing social media, just anyone could run it, but it takes a lot of skills and experience and some mastery effect, which you have to gain after a while, right? So the profession, it's easy to get into. Again, to establish yourself, it's relatively, let's say, you need to have that level of experience, right, to know what skills could work for which company, which brands, which even personal brands, right? And as you go on, you will see in terms of the importance of establishing your brand and maintaining that presence online. So my experience in the field, I have over 9 years experience. I started off in a very junior level position. I worked my way up, and I realized that education, or fostering that sense of education, really sets you apart from other persons, especially when you're applying for jobs or even knowing particular strategies, right, or theories that you can use, let's say, in interviews and stuff. I remember going to interviews and really laying the pathway in terms of what companies need to do, right, on social media, on the marketing side. So it's good for you to really liken yourself to doing research before interviews, marketing research, everything that can assist companies, right? So it's very fluid, the social media world. It's very important now, right? And again, really establish yourself if you are going to social media marketing or even marketing on the whole. I know CTS has a course in social media, which I guest lecture from time to time. And I really like to see how the students really bring together their project, which they actually have to do a full marketing, social media marketing plan for a specific company or event, right? Many of you all would start to be entrepreneurs, so it's good to get into at least managing or marketing your own business or your own brand on social media, right? If I would just share my screen, I would just put it on, right? The course. So the course is really important for persons who not only want to be a marketer, but just manage their own business, right? And to have that sense of what to do, especially in this light of COVID and more persons being online as compared to persons offline. If you want to purchase a product now, most companies, most persons go online and Google it before they search it. I'm sure many of you all would have done that before. So CTS really offers a good course. It's really in depth. I'm familiar with the lecturer as well too. So it goes hand in hand in terms of if you all want to get into the marketing or social media marketing area of it, right? Some of more or less the benefits. Salary wise, it's because social media is new. Salary wise, it's not the most paid brackets. It's not the engineers, not those fields, but you get to be creative, right? Salary wise, sometimes it ranges between, let's say, 12,000 upwards per month. If you're working for a company, if you have your own business, well, you know that salary could be higher, right? In addition to which, challenges now, you would realize that one, as a marketer, more and more persons will pop up, yet they don't have qualifications or experience. And there will be a lot of competition in terms of getting clients, really mapping out the strategies, because anybody could say that they manage a page and they're a social media marketing expert, right? But it really takes, again, expertise and reinforcing what you know. Many persons have come to us and really said, I know that this person's managing their page, it wasn't going good, right? So it takes a level of skill as well as qualifications to really be a marketer, especially for social media marketing, right? And I believe that this course at CTS would help you in those skills, right? If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I know I only have a couple of minutes, right? But I just wanted to show you all in terms of where social media has come from, and it specifically for Trinidad and Tobago, right? And we can see here exactly why I have a passion for social media, because in Trinidad specifically, more than 1.4 million is the population, right? 100,000 persons are actually active social media users. So if you are a business and you're looking to tap into those markets, it's good. If you're a social media manager, these statistics could help you, right? It's good to know, because many of us CTS, everyone going through this whole list, I'm sure you have a social media profile and you're wondering how to really manage your personal brand as well as your company. So it's good. It's difficult at times managing different brands, managing social media, dealing with clients. Again, it's a skill that you have to go through and get experience in, right? So I would stop here, really painting light of how social media marketing works. And I would take questions. Feel free to send it via the chat or even speak if your mic is muted so that I can answer your questions. Matthew, I'm seeing your hands up.
So what pursued you to become what do you call it, a marketing person?
Social media marketing. What pursued me is, again, it was psychology, right? We as consumers purchase. So I wanted really to tap into what could really promote or prompt people to purchase items, use services. And marketing is one of the main avenues which we do it with, right? Whether if it's CTS putting on a new course or you seeing the new KFC sandwiches on a billboard, right? And I really wanted to tap into that, so I created that avenue for myself to adapt, as well as to take in how social media or digital media could assist brands and companies.
Cool. You have any other like jobs or just this?
Any other jobs?
Yeah, is this the only thing you focus on, or is this
No, right now it is a part-time job. I also have a full-time job. I work at Criminal Lines, more or less in the same field. So it aligns more and more together, right? Again, if you have passion in this day and age, having one job is really and truly old age. These days, people have their side hustle as well as multiple jobs. So if you are a budding entrepreneur, if you're budding your own IT, the other guy before was doing IT, and it's good to have something on the side as well as your full-time job if you're passionate about it. And follow your passions. That's one of the main things I could say for persons entering careers or even want to develop a new career. But follow your passion.
Also from my end as well, with the social media, have you seen an increase in demand for your profession being?
Yeah, over the course of just last week, we got 3 persons calling us to really help their business online. And when we talk about business, I don't want to say this is CTS competition, but really pushing persons really to have an online presence in terms of, let's say, education-wise. Most people don't have a physical classroom now, especially with COVID. They go into online education, which you need some support social to market these areas, right? And businesses-wise, people are not on the street. People stop watching billboard. You're paying tens of thousands of dollars for a 1-month billboard, where social media is relatively measurable and easy to manage, right? So yes, we are seeing an increase in social media marketing. If you want to get into the field, CTS is a good start. But really it's for you all to hone in your skills and think about new and innovative strategies for yourself as well as your company. Any other questions?
Hi, good day. Hi, hear me?
Hi, here.
Yeah, so this is more like a general question. You touched lightly on businesses hiring skilled people. And when you're in the workforce, you tend to get a lot of businesses that are looking for people, employees, but they are not willing to take the chance when they see you have the qualifications but not the experience. And what advice can you give to individuals like that when they are wanting to reach a certain career, but they can't without experience?
That's you see, and that's a level of a gap between HR, because some people said they want an employee with experience, but how would you actually get the experience? For my advice, if you're entering with qualifications, now the market, all markets are more or less satirized with bachelors and masters. Set yourself apart by, again, simply doing research on the company, seeing what strategies you can help, whether you're in IT, you're in customer service, research your company, and when you're in that interview process, right? Even before the interview process, probably have a meeting, sit down, send an email saying, hey, I see you have, issues with your customer service. I suggest this, right? To really establish yourself and establish your presence. You may not have experience, but again, you have studied, right? You have some sort of theories and frameworks that you can apply to companies. So really think about innovative ways now, especially trying to enter a new job if you don't have the qualifications. And it goes hand in hand. Some people may not have the qualifications, but you have, let's say, 10 years in social media or managing a page or even customer service or in IT, but you don't have the qualifications. Really and truly, again, set yourself apart. I think now, with all the degrees, sometimes some people just look at really how you could be innovative in a company or in a business. Right? I know I started off, I had 7 CXC and I was wondering what to do. What I'm going to do next. After bachelor, I was like, okay, I am tired of being in my 8 to 4 job. Should I really take the jump and open my own business? Right? It's really what you are passionate about, what you want to do, and go after it. Right? If you want a new job elsewhere, go after it.
I have a question.
So, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, so what are some of your clients that you work with?
Some of my clients, if I share my screen now, all right, I'm going to see this. So some of my clients now, we have more or less, where is this? So I have managed pages for the configurer. She's actually on here sometime later on this week. Immediate consulting. I have early childhood enterprise business. I have 2 security businesses which we manage. We have a restorative wellness company. Caribbean Airlines is there. We have a health and wellness coach. We have a new product that came in just late last year, which is an eco-friendly product, right? So we have probably over 10 persons which we manage their social media accounts. So it's a lot of work, right? Again, it's not easy, but it takes a lot of, let's say, skills and expertise to go into it.
All right.
Any other questions? I'm seeing there's a lot of persons online, 20-some participants.
Damn.
Okay, so we have a question in the chat.
Oh, what is it?
That is, taking into consideration you are new to the field and you're trying to build a clientele, how do you go about charging for your services?
All right, well, because it's a relatively new field, charging for services, we do more or less talk to the client, right? You'll find that there are big agencies that charge thousands of dollars, right? Again, we are more trying to be cater for small businesses. So managing social media is based on our experience, we try to negotiate and work with the client. Many clients are entrepreneurs, they have a soap business, they have these other areas. They're not gonna have a bunch of funds to pay. So we really try to, let's say, work with the client. So there's no fixed, let's say, service fee, right? But it's really to negotiate with the client. It honestly starts at, let's say, $500 for a social media page, and it could go up, right? Again, because when you go into it, and because we have the marketing side as well as the social media side, we really tap into helping persons, not only social media marketing, but overall marketing for the business. So you pay for social media, but you really get the service of the overall marketing for your brand or even your company. So I would honestly say it starts at 500. Some people may charge you more, but it could start at 500.
All right, so he says
So that's all been done.
yes.
Right. Any other questions? I know we're running out of time. The business page is Brand Bucket Public Relations. I'm not too sure if I could share the page, but what I'll do, I would just paste the Facebook page so y'all can like it. Go follow up on it. If you all need any advice, assistance, consultancy, feel free to contact us social media wise. In terms of career paths, we do have internships from time to time. So feel free to message us, right? And we would be sure to try to work with you, especially in this era of online as well as COVID. We have time for other questions before the other presenter, or?
Yes, you have a few more minutes if you'd like. If anybody else has. I had one with time management as well. When you're dealing with different companies, let's say 3 or 4 you're juggling in terms of doing the social media, how do you schedule your time?
From perspective, I would say put aside 2 hours or 1 hour a day and focus on it. Because I myself manage different pages as well as have my other job, right? I really try to put aside, whether if it's in the evening or in the morning, put aside 1 to 2 hours and try to really focus and think. In this day and age, again, managing 2 jobs is difficult, but I think now more than ever, it's a need. So really and truly put aside a couple hours for your business, for your own self to really manage, right? And think clearly about what you're gonna do, what's your next steps, right? Even for your career, sometimes you're busy on your 8 to 4 job, right? Put aside 1 hour in the evening time to think about what career path, what could you do next, right? So for even managing businesses, that is what we try to do, and I always ask persons to, put aside a couple hours and focus on a particular area.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Right, so anybody else has any more questions at this point? Any questions? All right. If not, Ms. Avery, thank you so very much for coming and assisting us today, for sharing your contributions and what you do. We highly appreciate it here at CTS. And
Sure, no problem. Have a good day to everyone, all the students, as well as be safe during this time, right? And see you all some other time.
yeah, hopefully for the networking event, if you guys have time, feel free to check it out, join in.
Sure, no problem. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Mr. Corie, you ready for us?
I am. You ready for me?
Yep, floor is yours.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Thanks for having me. First of all, to Elena and the CTS team. I guess I fell in at the last end of the last presentation. So everybody here is marketing, Elena. Everybody who you had, or
For today, it's marketing and IT.
gotcha. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm in a different part of marketing. My company is Site Up Limited, and we focus on 2 areas of marketing. The first one I'll talk about a little bit is what we call trade marketing. It's just, it exists because people who manufacture things and trying to sell things to you or us as a consumer need retailers or somebody in between or some kind of distribution channel. So KISS doesn't sell bread necessarily directly to us. They sell through Massey and PriceSmart and so on. So we work in that space, and the kind of work that we do there is like provide merchandisers who you would see packing it in grocery shelves, making sure things rotated and not close to expiry. We work for some companies like Unilever there. We've done work for Angostura, Coca-Cola, some of the bigger brands in that supermarket space. And the other part of trade marketing really is things like events and promotions and what we call activations to get you as a consumer or to get us as a brand closer to you as a consumer. So some of the people we've worked for in that space would be from early as BlackBerry. I don't know if anybody here will remember BlackBerry. Hopefully, I don't want to date myself too much. Okay, thanks for that thumbs up. Make me feel a little...
I vaguely remember using my mom's BlackBerry phone.
So why you have to say vaguely? You could just say remember. You could just make me feel a little younger than, you know. But
the only thing I remember doing on it was playing
Yeah,
oh god, what's the name of that game where like you bounce a ball and then like it breaks bricks?
probably
Like-
Brick Breaker.
Yeah, that game. I remember playing that game on my mom's BlackBerry.
mole game. Fun.
Yeah, it seemed like a long time ago, but we used to represent them throughout the Caribbean. And if you remember Sony Ericsson would have been just before BlackBerry as well. Hey, people actually remember these things. And all the way up to Samsung, we represented up to last year. So, you remember Samsung?
No. Someone just said BlackBerry Stone Age. You know what Stone Age? Nokia.
Yeah. Phone.
Stone Age for me would be landlines, but yeah, so
Yeah.
but we spent a lot of time with those mobile brands, and those brands are not so much, it's not so much that they want to make sure that the goods are on the shelf. They want to educate you about the product, because the belief is that if you know about the new S10 more than you know about Apple's new phone, you will have a higher tendency to buy that phone. And by extension, if you look at people who work at courts, the belief is if we train the salespeople at courts better on the Samsung appliances, it will be easier for them to sell when you come to the store. So it's a little bit more of a hidden part of marketing than the last presentation. It looked at PR and stuff is really very important and out there, but for us, we work behind the scenes. And the other area we work in is in market research and data analytics.
That's true. That's true, because like right now, like the PlayStation 5, like we've seen a lot of gameplay of the PlayStation 5, but we haven't actually seen the console yet. But for the Xbox Series X, we know what the console is gonna look like, and we know like what it's gonna be like, how big it's going to be. But the PlayStation 5, you only seen like prototypes. You haven't seen anything official from Sony as yet.
That's true, and that might be deliberate too, because if you notice, Michael, I'm seeing some little leaked videos of controllers coming out slowly but surely. You're seeing bits of information, which to me, from my experience, it looks more like a controlled leak than somebody leaking the actual things. But I think both of them in a quandary now because of this COVID. They don't know, the launch dates are not solid. And,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so it's tricky.
Again, so that the Xbox will see the Xbox was, and then they'll wait, and then they'll send it out. Yeah.
It's different strategies. Both companies really very, very successful, and they're great at marketing, both of them, but
exactly
so likely to do a pre-order and have the product sold out long before it launches.
These tactics, marketing tactics, do they have any particular name?
Well, the thing about everything we discuss in there is around launch issues. So launch issues typically, it fits into the same context that we talk about in our classroom, like the marketing mix, and it falls under promotion. Because it's how do you, it's really very difficult to get a consumer interested in something that they don't know anything about yet. It's extremely difficult to do. And that's what Sony, for people to be talking about PS5 or the way Michael spoke about it, I waited for it to come out too. We don't know what it is yet, but I already know that I'm going to buy it whenever it comes out or whenever they make it available for pre-order. So the answer to that is really is launch issues, but the thing is everybody's launch strategy is different. You find that some companies, I'll use an example in the supermarket space, right? Kiss is a good example. They launch products pretty seamlessly because you already know the Kiss brand name. So they will, they will do some ads, they will do some of the things that we do in the supermarket space are like what you call shelf talkers and lighting and floor decals. So when you go into the store, subconsciously you might see there's a lot of signage you will see for a new product that the average person doesn't always notice. But it does affect our likelihood to buy, or at least our awareness that the product is there. Make sense?
Yeah, because most Kiss products kind of stand out from the rest because you see like Massey bakes their own bread, but you would quicker notice the Kiss branding rather than Massey's just plain old, they have like a price tag and everything. And then with Kiss, you notice that you recognize it's a recognizable brand.
It is. It's one of the strongest brands in the country. It is easily identifiable. So when they launch anything new, people are going to be aware of it very, very quickly. How long it takes you to try it might be a different thing, but the awareness is going to be fast, which is your first battle. When you think of it, right, people can't buy something that they're unaware of. You have to make the consumer aware of it at some point for them to be able to buy it. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now let's forget everything. So I have a list because now I can't remember what I was talking about in the first place. Where was I? Oh yes, I was talking about market research and data analytics. It's one of the more exciting areas in marketing for me now because I think that as marketers, and Alina asked me to talk a little bit about what it takes to get into the field. And let me say this now, if you're interested in getting into marketing, data is an important part of your job regardless of what you do in marketing today. When I say data, it's like we as consumers or as individuals give up a lot of our data pretty much for free. We get some access to something like Zoom or some access to something like Facebook or Instagram. But to be able to do that, we give them some more information like our name and this and that and those nice things, which we used to call in marketing segmentation, things like demographics and geographic area and so on. Facebook kind of knows who you are and pretty much where you live and where you hang out or where you go to school and where's your third place. They pretty much have all that information. On top of that now, in today's world, we start giving them our voice and we start giving them our facial features. I saw iPhone last week say that they relaxed the face recognition technology or adjusted it so that it's easier for you to pick up even if you have a mask. Now those are, to me, all those are data points. Those things just tell me more and more about you. And we use that data to predict how you will behave. So I want to say that large data sets about you and your behavior in the past is a pretty good predictor of how you will behave in the future. So as marketers, if I could understand how you behave or understand what motivates you, I really have a very good chance of understanding what you will buy next. Make sense? And I think we could all agree that we give up a lot of our data now. So what we have done as a company is we have done a lot of surveys, what we call post-episodic surveys. So for instance, we do that for some banks. If you leave the bank, we will call you within a 2-week period to get some information as to how the customer service was. Or we do, anybody ever heard about mystery shopping?
Sounds familiar, but I can't really put my finger on it.
That when like a mystery shopper comes in, like and he does like oh god, like he judges the overall shopping environment.
Yes.
And he and that to the marketers and say, okay, this was bad, this was good.
That's
so
right.
on.
That's right. I like the word you use too. It's really judging, because that the person who is in the person who does mystery shopping is an expert. It's not like a somebody is surveying. So we usually have a questionnaire that they're going in, and it's yes, no answers. Was the store clean? Yes. Was the shelf stocked? Yes. And we usually pay people. You get paid to shop because one of the clients we have now is one of the largest supermarket chains. We also work for one of the larger furniture and appliances stores and pharmacies as well. So places that you would typically go to, but we pay a little bit of money for people to go with our questionnaire just to check off. Oh yeah, somebody said they used to do them at Hilton. Hotels are really popular for mystery shopping. The reason you need it is because the owner of the hotel,
I wanna.
can't be in all the rooms at the same time. So they do it for quality assurance. So I like the way they use judge.
So isn't it just basically a health inspector?
Say that again?
Isn't it basically just a health inspector?
That's actually a good way to look at it. It's broader than health, but it is a good way to look at it because.
Well, yeah, but
it's
basically just the guy that comes in.
Yes, yes. We will determine the checklist ahead of time, right? Because you have to be sure. It's just like a health inspector knows exactly what they come into your house to look for. We know exactly what we go into the business to look for. Like one pharmacy chain had said that they want to make sure that every time people pay for something, they give them the change in their hand and then they greet them and tell them, thank you for coming to Corie's pharmacy. And all you had to do was if the person did that, you said yes, and if they didn't do it, they said no. So it's much, I never thought of it like that, it's much like a health inspector, except that it's a secret. You generally don't want to let people know that you're sending people because I want to see what the natural environment is in the store. Make sense?
Yeah. Actually, oh yeah, you can talk.
Who's this?
Oh, are you? By the way?
You mystery shop for?
I didn't hear that pass. All I heard was mystery shopper.
Do you get to keep the products that you mystery shop for? Your mystery
Yes. It varies. Like,
those kind of places.
Well, I'm frightened to talk. I'm not seeing where everybody here working, but like one example is we gave somebody an mystery shopping assignment to go and buy a fridge. But we keep the fridge. You can't keep the fridge, right? You got to take back the fridge and give back the people the fridge and so on. But for supermarkets, we kind of use people who already shop at that store. So to you, it will be like a discount on your grocery bill because you just pay it to do what you're doing anyway. You just go once a month and we don't tell you the specific products to buy in that grocery now. But some people ask, if we tell you what to buy, we will give you the money to buy it. And if it's a small item, we'll make that part of the payment. So a fridge, we might have to take that back, right?
Okay, no problem.
How do you become a mystery shopper? And if we hire people, the answer to hiring is yes. We're always looking for more people to do mystery shopping, and we need different demographics: younger, older, gender-based, race, and every ethnicity. The wider it is the more jobs we can get. So what I'll do, right, guys? I'll give Elena the information that will allow you to go and just sign up to be a mystery shopper. And it's really first come, first serve for us. If we ask you some questions before, right? Like we need to know what grocery you shop at, what bank you go to, and so on. So if we're doing a mystery shop for Corie's bank, we'll prefer customers we may need customers of that bank already. So you'll see emails coming out and stuff to shop top marketing companies to work for in Trinidad. Oh, I shouldn't take questions yet, right, Elena? I should probably get through this first, right? So that's what we are. Say?
Sorry, either one you want to do because you'll be the last presenter for today. So.
Okay.
I have a question.
See, the talkative nature of myself make Elena put my last, but that's good. Yes, somebody had a question.
Yeah, how does the company benefit from that exactly?
What, mystery shopping?
Yeah, like sending out people to mystery shop. It looks like they're losing money from that.
It's a good question. The thing is this, right? What companies typically do is you start by having a very good understanding of the experience that your customers want and the experience that you want to deliver. So let me use an example of Hilton that somebody had put here. Hilton has an experience that they want to replicate so that their brand remains strong and the customers remain loyal and satisfied, right? The issue is that in operating a business, a lot of stuff goes wrong. So it's not necessarily that employees are bad or anybody doing anything bad, but it's just the way business works. Things go wrong all the time. So what they send mystery shoppers to do is to make sure that the experience we say we're going to provide is what we actually provide. So think of it like a compliance report. So I go in, I want to know if the room was made up. I want to know if somebody checked in, if a bellhop took you to your room and so on. So it's just a simple set of yes, no. And what they will do, a company like Hilton, for instance, will set a standard score. For us, it used to be, we usually score people out of 100. And some people will say you have to be at least 80% compliant with the service norms. A bank usually says something like 95 because of the business that they're in. So what it is if you fall between 70 and 95, they'll probably have meetings, coaching, whatever needs to be done to understand why certain things are happening at the location. And if you fall below 70, it's probably a different type of action that the company is likely to take. And in most cases, the branch manager would be the person responsible. Does that make sense? I hope I answered your question.
I actually have a funny story about data management. So back in 2013, I think it was Target, right? So Target sent this family some flyers for coupons on pregnancy items, right? And the dad was furious because his wife was not pregnant. So Target gave it to his daughter, and he was furious about that because why would Target give a flyer of a pregnancy flyer to his daughter, right? And so the dad went to Target, complained, but then he found out his daughter actually was pregnant. And then he had to go and apologize to Target. So Target knew that his own daughter was pregnant before him.
Yeah, not good for our father. Not always the best news for our father. But I like the point you bring up. I want to talk about that Target thing, but I just want to make sure I address the question. I think I see the name as Balladeer. Was that the answer make sense? It's clear it up anyway.
Yeah, the answer makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, good. Yeah, I saw that Target case, and that is something that we, as people who collect data, for me, I take personal responsibility for both how I collect and store people's data, and also what we use it for, because that is, that example I gave there, Target stopped doing that campaign immediately after that, because it's not like if being right about it made them any better. It is probably not the best thing to do. I mean, not all pregnancies would be celebrated, but that's a tricky topic. I wouldn't get involved in that as a corporate entity to kind of regulate people. If they didn't tell me, if you come and tell me you're pregnant, I go and say, Elena, congrats, happy for you. If you never tell me anything, I am not saying any words to you. I'm just saying, hey, how are you going? How's the weather? It's great.
Actually, they Target found out because they were keeping track of what that girl was buying, and they gave her coupons based on what she was buying, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, you're right, and that is happening a lot. Like the ads you see on YouTube or on Facebook would be different to the ads that I see, and it's really based on our online behavior, sometimes offline too.
Yeah.
The data we could collect from you is the more we'll be able to predict what you will buy next. Target was also, like in marketing, one of the heaviest researched groups is a woman who's pregnant for the first time, largely because of the average spend. And one of the second highest research group is a first-time mother, which is the same person after a while, right? And largely because of how much you will spend. And also Target knew that you're unlikely to shop around. If you come there to buy your vitamins and those things, you're probably going to look for baby clothes and crib and all those things. But you could see where it could be a fine line between what is helpful to a consumer as a suggestion and what is unethical.
Yeah.
So, in our case, locally here, there are not a ton of people. It's hard to get data for free on general issues. Like if I had to say, what's the top juice brand in the country, most people wouldn't be able to answer that question it's with facts or data. So one of the things that we want to do, and this is an addition to what I'll send you all for the mystery shopper list, right? But if you're on our database, we usually send out a large amount of surveys because one of the goals I have for this year is to become a repository of data for the country for free. So for people like you who are doing assignments and so on soon, I would like, I enjoy lecturing a lot, but one of the things I don't enjoy too much is that we always have to do assignments on foreign companies because it's difficult to get good research on local companies. So when a student chooses a local brand, I'm going to tell you in marketing, it's going to be SM Jaleel, it's going to be Sasha Cosmetics. You know, it's a short list of people who have some information online. Other than that, it's really.
Well, actually, you saying about like what the top juice brand in TNT, but I can certifiably say that it's probably Orchard because you see Orchard everywhere. You see Orchard a lot at parties. I mean, how could they not be the most popular juice brand in TNT? You see them everywhere in groceries, little pharmacies sell them. They're everywhere.
I would think so. Well, in that world, I might judge the one that's most available as the most popular, but we can say the same things about fruit and so on. It's just that, and I'm not that I think your assumption wrong, but I want to be able to give people the data to support those things so that we don't have to, because it's just like you, Michael, using visibility as your cue to see which one is the most popular, which I don't think is a bad cue, but some people might just use the one they find is the best. Like I was just, before we start here, I was having one of those Facebook debates that we all love so much about which one is better between Ozark and Peaky Blinders. And listen, I don't want to know which one you find better, right? Because that's going to take hours if I could judge that from Facebook. But it's really just based on who like which one more. But there's no general opinion that's founded in data. You know? What are you saying, Matthew? You're going to say something?
Is that?
Don't start,
What
please.
is that?
Sorry, you're going to ask a question, Matthew.
Yeah, what was the brand? Is that like a brand? I don't know what it is.
Oh, good. If you don't know what it is, that's good. You're in a real good position if you don't know what it is. Don't worry about all these other people. It's just 2 series on Netflix, 2 different series.
Okay.
Also, Corie, we have a question. What is the difference between marketing and advertising?
Oh, that's a good question. Consider advertising a part of marketing as like a subset. When I talk about marketing, think about market, right? If you ever went into Tunapuna market or Central market or so, a market is just a place where buyers and sellers meet. Everything else on top of that is just layers, right? So if you look at the market, marketing is the activity that happens between a buyer and a seller. It happens in 2 ways. The seller trying to get you to buy cassava from, where you buy my cassava. Everybody else have cassava in the market, but I want you to buy mine. So that activity of trying to get you to buy mine is what I would call marketing. In the reverse, I would also call marketing when I tell you cassava is $10 a pound and you tell me, boy, I had 8, what are you going to do from that? All that's marketing to me because you're trying to get to an outcome, to influence me to get to some different outcome. Consider advertising as a part of marketing because a part of what you could do to convince somebody to buy my product is advertising. So for instance, you might find that you're going to market and some vendors talking loud. They say, miss, come by me, try this. I have someone cook here. And they show you one cooking good. Call that advertising. Advertising is the way that you communicate to the customer to either inform or persuade so that the person gets what your idea is. And in business is probably behind the product.
So basically, it's just advertising is just spreading the word, and marketing is just more like the tangible,
yes,
like thing like of trading.
Yes, I like the way you put that because spreading the word is a good way to call that, communicating. And marketing as a whole, marketing is the price that you set, the actual product that you make, where you make it available for the customer, what kind of service you give, what's the process for the customer to buy, can they pay with cash or links or credit card, or can they pay on terms and pay from a cassava in 6 months, you have time to pay. All that activity is marketing. Whereas advertising is a way of communicating. Remember that you could also communicate. A colleague before was talking about PR. PR is a way of communicating, just like
public relations.
That's right. Public relations is a way of communicating with your public. I hope that makes sense, Camilo. tell me if it did, right? If anything to clear up, you could ask. Somebody did ask, what are some of the top marketing companies? Okay, Camilla, cool. What are the top companies to work for in Trinidad? And where do you see the field going? Okay, two separate questions. The local companies who, now keep in mind that Michael pointed this out, right? Remember that when we have local firms here, some of them are local subsidiaries or divisions of foreign companies. So I would say that Nestle, and they are very, very active, not a local company, but some of the local guys would be like, Angostura does a lot. And it depends on what type of marketing you want to get into as well, right? Because if you like advertising and stuff, advertising agencies would be a good place for you to go to if advertising is what you enjoy, largely because the advertising agencies like CMB and McCann Erickson and Lonsdale, some of the bigger ones, they work on campaigns for so many different types of companies that the person who works there comes out really very, very good at advertising and promotion as a whole. So like we usually work with a lot of graphic artists. You need graphic artists.
Oh yeah.
The graphic artists I ever worked with have done their time in agencies and they are sharp. They are sharp. What I like out of a graphic artist is somebody who could take the vision of the client and make it into, create that into a visual that the client's happy with. I think is a great skill. It's very, very hard to do if you ask me. I'm not really a creative. I'm not on that side of marketing, but I love working with people who could get that done. So I would say those companies, the bigger brands are really very good. And where I see marketing going in the next 5 years is deeper and deeper into data analysis. I think locally here, people do a lot of work already, but I want you to think of how Amazon operates and how much data they collect from you in terms of what you viewed, what you put in your carts, what you didn't buy, what's your favorite. And they also suggest to you, others who have bought this have also bought that, right? Those things are happening automatically behind the scenes. There's an algorithm doing that. There's no person who's trying to make those suggestions, right? I see marketing going further and further in that direction. Because as I get deeper into things like machine learning and so on, I'm not even sure if we need humans to do the algorithms anymore. They'll probably come up with the machine will be faster at coming up with individual algorithms than any individual could come up with. They're going to be pretty accurate if I had to guess.
Actually,
you're correct.
Actually, my mom works, I think she works in an advertising agency as well. She works at Pepper Advertising.
Yeah, Pepper is a very good one. There's Dennis Rambine, I believe.
Yeah.
He spent a long time in big agencies and then he went out on his own. But they are excellent. Like those advertising agencies responsible, or I should say that Carib and Stark would be some good ones if you're so inclined as well for advertising, because they have very big advertising and marketing budgets. Agostini, the Agostini is still around and doing a lot. I would say outside of those, like consider distributors like Rydens and Massey Distribution and so on as well. But keep in mind, for that person who was asking about marketing companies, yeah, one of the things is that all companies market themselves. Most companies, you're going to find a way to market yourself. If you're selling something, you're already marketing yourself. So don't limit yourself to organizations that are, even some of the ones I call in, because they do a great job, yes, but I mean, Elena and they at CTS do a huge job keeping, I mean, I'm a facilitator with some courses there. They do a good job keeping even me engaged. They're not looking to me to do courses or anything, hopefully not. But they keep us very, very engaged as faculty and engaged with students with activities like these and so on. Oh, that's a real good question. Introverts. Well, the fact that your name is guest means you're a real introvert for real. Do you have to be good at selling to be successful at marketing? I would say the short answer is no. For instance, when I do data analysis or market research, I am as introverted as it gets. I sit in this room for hours looking at spreadsheets, and I mean, it's the backbone of what we do it for our bank, for instance, is backbone or what the bank doing to keep their customers happy, as an example, or offer better services and so on. But I don't have to sell anything. I would say though that because we started business in 2006, we started operating like 2005. And I would say that as introverted as I think I am, if I didn't get over that barrier to be able to sell, we wouldn't be in business today. I think selling is critical if you want to be in your own business. And at minimum, you have to sell yourself, even if it's not a job interview or anything like that. Yeah. You have a sales job to do whether we like it or not. So I could give you my info as well to throw Lena, and you could reach out to me because I could help you with some pointers to help introverts sell and do. I'm not the most comfortable person doing presentations or doing a pitch or doing sales and stuff, but I've figured out some ways to get over the hurdle. So if you want to reach out to me, I'm open to that. Well, yes, yeah, that's what Michael is saying. Michael says he thinks you should focus on anything that requires less communication or verbal interactions. Yeah, that would be true. If you, yeah, cool, you could reach out to me if anything. That's I'm comfortable with that. All right, so one of the questions they asked was how do you get into the field of marketing? Thanks, Jan, I need that support. Get into the field of marketing. Now we have two companies, right? The other one is our employment agency. So if you could permit me, I know I'm well over time already, Elena, so just give me a signal when we're there, right? I'll talk about both sides. From a human resource or recruitment agency side, which the other company we have is Yes Careers, and we do job placement. If Yes Careers is looking for a marketing person on behalf of a client, you're going to have one or two things: a degree in something related to the field or experience in the field. I know we don't always like hearing that, but that is what it is, because we have to have some way of separating the thousands of applicants that we get for every job that we post to the one person who's going to get a job, or the 20 people we'll interview, or the 100 people we'll shortlist. So what they will look for, and I will ask for, is a degree. Now, the question about associate degree or bachelor's degree or master's degree is more related to the type of position that you're going to do. So I would say that if you're going to be a brand manager, for instance, which most companies have somebody who is like SMG, they have a brand manager. For Chubby, one for Buster. The brand manager is an exciting job for me when I was that age, where because you get to run around to events all over the country, you work kind of day and night. I like the job of being a brand manager. You're probably going to travel a lot as well. Like when I first got into marketing, I was traveling almost every week to somewhere else in the Caribbean. I can't do it anymore, but if you're now entering the field, it's an exciting thing to do because it's, you know, you get to see a lot and you get to be a part of a lot of events and places that I would have probably never seen before.
No, but
yes.
The thing is, like, when you're traveling constantly, that could also be, I mean, yeah, sure, it's fun to visit so many different places, but that could also be pretty mentally taxing, because I follow, like, the wrestling industry, and I know, like, how, like, the kind of mental strain constantly traveling has on them. And I'm not saying that the travel schedule be as strict as wrestling, as it is in advertisement, but I'm just saying, for those of you that, you know, aren't exactly stable when it comes to traveling, it may be a bit difficult.
That's true. That's what got to me eventually. It's tiring. When you start to get old, you can't take that anymore. So that's a young man's job or a young woman's job, if you ask me. But I really value the experience that I had with it, because one of the things you'll realize in any field you want to get into, the degree is just to get you the interview. How well you perform on a job is what's going to keep you in the job, or how well you perform in the interview is what's going to get you the job on. That experience I had traveling to do stuff, it forced me to grow a lot. I mean, there's no, like, one example would be we went to Jamaica one time and did it was a promotion for Red Bull. You remember Red Bull did a thing called Fluke Tag here? You do a little flying thing and do it out in the sea. Jamaica had one called, it's like a push cart thing on the hill. Was that?
Fluke tag.
That's what it was, right? Fluke Tag, yeah. they had a version of it in Jamaica. It was just a race downhill. And I went there and I was lost. I was just trying to figure out everything as I went ahead. And I remember still trying to do actually getting to the event 2-3 hours before to set up flags and banners and all this type of thing. And I remember like you're sweating, and that's what I used to do in if you're going to get into marketing, prepare to lift up a lot of boxes, to be in a lot of hot sun, to put up a lot of them flag banners and move box here and there, and wave things. It is where it is where marketing is. You're gonna interact with a lot of people and give away jersey, and it's very much hands-on when you get into it. And then in the midst of the thing, a guy called me as a representative for Sony Ericsson to come and say a few words on behalf of the brand. And I am drenched in sweat and looking like how I look now, like if we quarantined, and it was bad. And I learned a little bit of a lesson then, because from then on, I realized, wait, I can't do all this myself, number one. But also always be prepared, always be prepared. Have some things to say if you get called to talk at short notice. Walk with a change of clothes, whatever you need to do. So that is true. That's true, Elena. Yeah, it's like those times were, it's eye-opening. Like you learn a lot more than you would learn like, from the textbook or in the classroom.
You have to become, you have to become more aware of people's surroundings and how you never know how fortunate you may be that because you never know, you go to a place like people portray Brazil as this big like fantasy world, but then when you dig deeper into Brazil, you find out that a lot of the people living in poverty, some people are completely homeless, they have nothing to eat, they don't know where the next meal is coming from. And yeah, you know, it gives you a better idea of how things are operating across the world.
Yeah, and when you think of it, Michael, to me that is life. That's more than marketing. That's bigger than marketing. So those experiences I wouldn't trade in for the world, and that's what I think marketing, more than many other fields, gives you that opportunity to, even if it's locally, you travel a lot in the country, like you see a lot of places, new venues, you always, marketing is not a field, at least in inception, when you just get into it, where you're in the office for very long. You probably, if you like a desk job or office job, an entry-level marketing position, you might have to stick to like research, or even research, you probably have to go in the field a lot. Yeah, anytime, whenever you're ready, I'm gonna leave now. What else do I have to cover here? Yeah, in terms of degrees too, one of the things that like I do some of the programs at CTS now, and I feel like if for the people who have master's level in particular, there's a program I do now. What's the name of it, Elena? Digital marketing, is it in Bedfordshire?
Yes.
Yeah, digital marketing. I find it's a strong module in a master's program because it does a good job helping us transition from brick and mortar marketing to more of the digital side and understanding social media and so on. Yeah, it's really very, it like balances the two worlds, because marketing people are not always the most techie people. So we ourselves making our adjustments, but is a good program overall. And at an entry level, if you never did marketing at all or don't understand the field, I really like there's an undergrad program now that does marketing management. It will take you all the way from what marketing is, all the way to how to execute in their UH program. It's pretty good programs. And to me, right, again, going back to looking for a job, I will generally look for the resumes that have a degree. And people usually ask, well, why you need a degree if you're going to lift up box and put up flags and stuff? The reason is because you're not going to stay lifting up box and putting up flags and stuff for long if you understand the job and you're committed to it and you're willing to put in the work. It's a field that people might do that for a year or two. They're probably going to advance very quickly within the company that you work for. Or, as Michael was suggesting this a little bit, in marketing, every event that you go to, if you're working by Carib, you're going to meet people from SN Jalil and Lucas Aid, you're going to meet people there, and your name is always out there and your face is out there. So it's a place where people switch jobs and switch companies and stuff fairly regularly and stay in demand once they're willing to pay for it. Yeah? So any questions that I didn't answer or any new questions, now would be a good time.
I don't have any questions.
Okay, good. What did I miss here? Somebody else?
And I also saw emails coming in already for the mystery shopper.
Oh, good. I'll send you the email. No, don't email her later. I'll send you the email address later. And you could just email that directly. The person by us who's responsible for it, his name is Kern Hines. So just say, hey, Kern, Corey's always to send this email. He'll be happy to receive it. He'll be always looking for more people that do that. Somebody, I think,
No problem.
Jenny had asked, what steps can an individual take to advance to a marketing level? But that's a good question. People who are in sales, if you want to advance from sales to marketing, I would say that you have an advantage already. If I'm looking at a marketing position and I see somebody who has sales experience, you're probably going to get an interview over somebody who doesn't, largely because sales experience means that you understand that critical part of marketing already and you know how to interact with people and all that. So I would say, other than the qualifications and so on, having a background in sales, when you're doing your resume, put that as your first step forward. Like play that up more than anything else. It does not matter before. Don't worry about what kind of sales you was doing or anything. Before we start our company, I was a customer service rep in TSTT. It really doesn't matter what your starting point is. If you know what you want, play that up on the on your resume. So a lot of people do this resume thing where they say, I went to primary school here, and then I went to secondary school, and I get 5 O-levels, and then if you're applying for a job in sales, start with your sales experience. Say, listen, I work in a cloud store, I interact with hundreds of customers every day. I'm able to get at least half of them to buy. Say that first. You could give up the backup after, because when you put the primary school and the secondary school and even the bachelor's or the master's degree first, understand that everybody else who apply have that. You have to show on your resume what makes you different, you know? Book recommendations. Oh, in marketing and sales. There's a book called, no, it's an old book, you have to forgive me, but it's the best book I ever read on marketing. The name of the book is called Positioning by Al Rice and Jack Trout. I'll type it in here. Yeah, Al Rice and Jack Trout, really, really good book. It talks about the power of brands and how brands take up space in our mind. That book is an old book, and I read that book maybe in, must be 99, 2000 or something like that, old. But it's one of those things that, I mean, that book has aged so well that it's so relevant in 2020, all now. I'm outside of marketing, which I'm reading much more outside of marketing these days than in marketing. I would read The Road Less Traveled. If anybody has ever read it before, it's really, it changed my perspective of the world and what is important and all that. So I'll put that here as well. I multitask, right? So you have to work with me less. I can't remember the author now. I think it's Scott Peck. If I'm wrong, just correct it for me, right? I think it's Scott Peck. Somebody said, yeah, all successful read. That's true. And don't underestimate the value of audiobooks either. I tend to oh, thanks. I tend to, these days, go through more audiobooks than physical books. And if I find the audiobook is real good, then I'll buy the physical book and go back over and highlight what I need to highlight. So, what else is here? The book recommendations. Oh, resume tips. As I was saying before, find your unique strength and put that on your resume. I'll give you an example, right? Let me use Elena as an example, with your permission.
Yeah, no problem.
I remember seeing Elena in class a long time ago, and I've seen her, and I was wondering, you had finished this degree yet? It's like, what's going on with you? It's like, this will never end. Not realizing that I had seen Elena in her bachelor's program as well as in the master's program. And Elena stands out in class because I think mostly because she's prepared, but she's also very curious. So she asks a lot of questions. I enjoy groups like these where people ask me a lot of questions and stuff more than coming to read things like this. So I enjoyed Elena as a student a lot. And we maintained a good relationship over the years too. The problem is this. If Elena sends in a resume by me, I don't get any of that. Then how do I select her for interview? So the challenge on a resume is to think of it as if everything that they listed on that thing saying this is what they need, that is what makes you equal to everybody else who has applied. So if they say they need a degree and they need a master's and they need this and they need 5 years experience, if you have those things, that is going to make you the same as everybody else who applied. Not everybody else who applied, but everybody else who was shortlisted. Because people will apply who don't have it anyway. So you have to put what makes you, you. You have to get your personality to come off of that page. So if I had just looked at Elena in class, I would not know how her personality is and that she's doing all this makeup stuff with all this kind of thing and the whole arm opening up and all these nice things. Don't be too worried about putting things like that on your resume. Don't be worried about it at all. Because I've seen employers, and we've done it a lot of times, where all the resumes look the same and then you say, wait, this person could do this kind of makeup. What kind of makeup you call that? Do they have a name for that, Elena?
Yes, that's special effects.
Good. So imagine you put that and you do special effects and you put a picture of it. It then gets me, I don't want to see nobody hands coming out on the bone, but it would make me get some ideas as to wait. She has a skill beyond the skills that we need here that we might be able to use. So I would say the most important tip for your resume, no, don't lie on your resume, please. Or somebody say lie a lot. Try not to.
That was me. But obviously, I was just joking. I don't condone lying on a resume, but
For sure. try to, all of us have something that makes us uniquely us. Don't just try to put it on your resume. Don't write a whole resume that is 3-4 pages long and then in the end you put hobbies, special effects, makeup. But that's any open thing.
Resumes aren't exactly like that anymore. They're more like multiple choice questions nowadays, from what I've seen.
That helps too, if you could get like that, because I don't want to read all those resumes. The faster I get through those resumes, the better. Any other questions? I think those are, oh yeah, good. Let's travel there. Yeah, that's about it. Any other questions?
No, that's about it. No. Can't really think of anything else to ask.
All right, good. All right, so it was my pleasure. This was supposed to be 20 minutes. I didn't make any effort to make it as short as 30. I don't think I could. Right?
All right. Well, Mr. Corie, thank you so much again for participating with us this afternoon. I believe everybody had a very good time in the meeting.
Yes, thank you all very much. Thanks, Elena, for having me. It's my pleasure anytime. And guys, yes, that's true, 20 minutes. And thanks for being such a great group. I didn't expect this amount of interaction. I really enjoyed it. So thanks, Emamail. Thanks for all the questions.
Thank you too, man.
Thanks. Sure, Merrick. Thanks. All right, guys.
All right. And so guys, so this concludes our first day for the career week, but we have how much more days again? All the way till Saturday.
Saturday? I thought it was Friday.
Monday to Friday would be the actual different careers we have going on. Saturday we have a networking event as well as we have career guidance. So if you're interested in that and you have not gotten the link, you could always send me an email and I'll be happy to forward it to you as well.
Okay, I just saw the email and I saw the Saturday part.
Okay, nice. All right, so everybody have a good afternoon and thank you guys so much for coming out.
Yeah, well, thank you for giving us this opportunity. I liked it. It was very, I mean, I didn't really, I kind of knew most of this stuff, but it was very nice to interact about it.
It was very nice having you here and having you being part of the discussion as well. So thank you very much.
Anytime.
All right, so see you guys tomorrow. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.